There are certain places that I haven't visited myself, but I can already picture them from the images that I have seen online. So it's this kind of push and pull between reality and fantasy. My name is Anastasia Samoylova. I'm a photographer and artist based in Miami, Florida. My series Landscape Sublime began in 2013. It is ongoing. It is inspired by the aesthetic categories of the beautiful, the picturesque, and the sublime that were illustrated with examples from nature back in the 17th century. Also, collage really reflects the chaotic world we live in. So I use those examples from nature, but I found them online. I would look for public domain and Creative Commons licensed images, assemble them by subject, and then print them out and sculpt them into tableaus. It's actually all three-dimensional. So these are physical collages. I'm not interested in appropriation in this case, but photography can also serve as this time capsule. There are certain places that I haven't visited myself, but I can already picture them from the images that I have seen online. So it's this kind of push and pull between reality and fantasy, and it's manifested through these constructs that are real, but of course they're theatrical. The title reflects the subjects of the work, landscape, and then the sublime part deals with this aesthetic category and refers not only to the overwhelming beauty and slight intimidation that you experience from the grand landscape, but also the sublime is in the number of the same kind of images that become a certain pattern in our daily media feeds. Certain things might evolve on a formal level, but human brain is a pattern seeker. We are comforted by the same motifs, the same renderings of things. So the sublime refers to the technological sublime as well. Nothing is sketched, so everything is made in the studio from scratch, and I photograph it essentially right before it all falls apart. It's not a very permanent construction. And the piece aesthetically, on the formal level, looks like an Cubist painting, which is very much a part of my DNA. I grew up with that movement, going to museums early on. So this kind of Cubist approach and collage are the center of this work. I've always had this special relationship with the natural world, probably because I grew up in a big city, Soviet-era block buildings from the 60s. Going out in nature was always a special occasion. Also, I thought of nature as a universally recognizable motif that can communicate things regardless of one's language or even cultural references. And of course, now we know that AI is adding to that, but it addresses some of the same issues. What's reality? What is a computer-generated image? When you take a photograph and add certain manipulations, you're already getting a picture that's a degree removed from reality. It really is a means to channel some very layered thoughts that I have. The first picture is Aspens. This is one of the earliest pictures. I was in an artist residency with a studio that had a large window. So what you see in the background, those little lines, it looked like a grid. It's actually a hurricane protection. So it's a tornado protection window. This is natural light initially. I added some lights later. I thought of aspens in a symbolic sense. It reminded me of the Western landscapes, and I wanted to arrange them in this highly geometric structure. And the image is actually in color, but it is off black and white prints. So you will see a little bit of reflection of my own skin in that reflective foil in the background. This was inspired by a search for landscape photography. So I did a Google search for landscape photography and a category of mountains came up. And then the way the algorithms work, it suggested the most popular genre within that category, and this was black and white mountains. So I found myriad of public domain images, and this is loosely inspired by Yosemite. This image is called Dolphins in Venice. And this was inspired by the news of dolphins coming back to Venice canals in 2021, which turned out to be fake news. And then later on, it was discovered that it's real. So this piece is also, on the formal level, very much reminiscent of Alexandra Exter's painting Firenze, Florence, from 1915. It's a direct reference to that painting. With this project, there are different playful elements. You can't really take it at face value. There's a degree of irony throughout what's reality and what's construct manifested itself in this project.